Okay. So yesterday we started to analyze the language of the Medrash and try to figure out what the Medrash is saying. But before we go deeper into the Medrash, let's understand a little bit more of the where we came from and where we're going in this Maamar. The Frierdiker Rebbe says that Hashem is compared to a king who gives away all of his treasure houses and all that his ancestors have gathered. All of his ancestors have gathered in order to win the war. And even more, the king gives away his very life to win a war. There are different kinds of wars. There's a war that you make in order to get more territory, to get more resources. But then there's a war that a king fights because he wants something he has something inside himself that he wants to accomplish, not because of strategy, not because of how he wants to angle his trajectory of his monarchy or where he wants things to go. It's something that he just cares about so deeply that he'll fight for it. And he'll fight for it so much, he'll give his life away for it. It matters more to him winning than his life itself. He will give his life in battle. So this is all a parable for the analog, for Hashem, and the war of bringing Mashiach, of pushing out of the world all the tumah, all the impurity, and revealing the truth of Hashem in the world. So the name of Hashem, which is associated with war, is the name Tzvois. Now Tzvois seems to be a very a lower name of Hashem, if you will. It's a name which is associated with the lower sphera, one of the lower spheres, the sphere of Netzach, sphere of Hoid. And unlike the other names of Hashem, which correspond to Chesed and Gvura, this is all the way towards the what's called the Bar Migufa, the lower area of the spheres. So you would think that this lower kind of sphera doesn't touch the essence of godliness. And yet the Frierdiker Rebbe says in the Maamar that in order for the king to win the war, it affects his very core of his soul. He'll give his life away for this. So considering this in the analog regarding Hashem, there's something about the sphera of Netzach, of this lower kind of sphera, that that touches, so to speak, the essence of Hashem. So in order to explain this, the Frierdiker mentions very briefly in the Maamar, but the Rebbe explained that this brief explanation is meant to answer this question. How could this lower sphera be connected to the essence mamish, to literally the essence? We're not just talking about a lower kind of sphera, we're talking about a reality where there is an opposition to godliness, where there is a war, where there's a need to fight a war. We're not talking about a war where there is no, we're not talking about the realm of Atzilus where there is no Klippa. We're talking about a realm where there is Klippa, and that the Klippa fights against Kedusha. And Hashem uses, so to speak, he gives and he reveals things that were never revealed before for the sake of us, or if to fight this war, Hashem gives it all away. So the Netzach, the victory of the Eibishter, so to speak, touches his very core. So how does that fit with this idea of Hashem giving his very core away to the location of this name of Hashem in Netzach and Hoid? How does that fit? So to answer this, we brought the Medrash. What does Medrash say? Moshe Rabbeinu asks Hashem, what is your name? Hashem says, you want to know my name? I am called according to my deeds. It sounds like Hashem is saying I don't have a name. But as we learned, doesn't mean that Hashem is saying he doesn't have a name. What Hashem is really saying is that my name, on the one hand, is based upon something very external. It's the way I project myself. It's not me, myself, but just the way I project. And therefore, there are various names of Hashem, depending on what Hashem is doing. When I fight with the wicked, Hashem says, my name is Tzvois. Hashem's name of mercy is Yudke Vavke. Hashem's name of justice is Elikim. So the various names of Hashem are associated with the various actions that Hashem is doing. It's not Hashem himself, so to speak. On the other hand, the language of the Medrash tells us something more. The Medrash says, I am called by my names. It's not only I am projecting in a certain way based upon what I'm doing. This is my own name. This is who I am. So there's a bit of a paradox in a name that on the one hand, it's the way Hashem projects, and it's and on the other hand, it is Hashem himself. Now this is a paradox just in the Medrash, but the Medrash is using the language of the Medrash. The Medrash has this interpreted in the Kabbalah. The names of Hashem mean the spheres. Hashem Kel is Chesed, Hashem Elkim is Gvura. So are the spheres godly, or the spheres just the way Hashem projects to us? The Pardes uses the analogy of light that goes to various different colored windows. So it's not the light itself that's changing. It's just being changed by the various colored windows. And the reason why we have to say that there's various different color windows, and what Kabbalah is trying to answer by talking about various components within godliness, it is a very fundamental question. There are all different kinds of creatures in this world, and if the Hashem is just one, where is all the diversity coming from? Hashem is the one truth. So where is all this diversity coming from? So the names of Hashem are express, and they project and they channel Hashem's energy in different ways. So I want to read to you a little bit of Sefer HaErechim. Sefer HaErechim is a sefer the Rebbe inspired and asked to be printed. It's a book, it's an encyclopedia of Chabad philosophy. There's another encyclopedia which the Rebbe also inspired, the Talmudic encyclopedia. This is an encyclopedia on Chabad philosophy. It is mamish, a fascinating work, and there's a lot of energy and hours people put in to create this. So just to give some idea of the breadth of this work, there's about 3 volumes printed just in the definition of the word light, because in Chassidus there is light, there's the infinite light, there is the light of that is in the spheres, there's the spheres as they are in the infinite light, and so there's a lot of it goes into just discussing the need for spheres. What's the purpose of having spheres? What does spheres explain? So let me get this quote over here. Okay, this is in volume 4 of Sefer HaErechim, and this is on page Samach Beis. There is a discussion in Kabbalah if the lights in the vessels have their own form, or is the form just conferred upon them through the vessels? So one of the proofs that the light itself has some limitation, and it's just crystallized by the vessels that they're filtered through, like in the analogy of the Pardes, the light going through the red or green glass. The very fact that we find that every creature in the world has parameters that are different from each other, and not just different in quality, but every creature is different in quantity as well. If form and limitation was only something that was produced by the vessels, that would mean that the energy that goes into each creature only comes from the vessels and not from Hashem. That's the language in Sefer HaErechim. It comes only from the vessels and not from Hashem. The vessels are a tzimtzum, are a contraction, and the fact that we have a personality and we have a limitation, where does that originate from? If you say that the light itself does not have character, the light itself does not have any form, that would mean that our character and our form is only from the vessel, only from the concealment, and not from the light, it's not from Hashem himself. Number two, the fact that Hashem knows every creature, and the fact that Hashem takes care of every creature, that is a plurality. Hashem knows each creature. There's different knowledge. How Hashem knows Arya Siegel, Hashem knows Dr. Bressman, Hashem knows Moshe Levin. There is a different knowledge about me than about Rabaria. The knowledge about Rabaria is about the kind of coffee he's brewing over there. Knowledge about me is a kind of scrambling over here, trying to explain this. So if you say that form, that limitation, that character is the word I'm looking for, is only something that's produced by the vessels of Hashem, but the lights themselves don't have any form, that would mean that God's knowledge of each creature is something that is only produced by the vessels and not from the light of Hashem, only from the concealment, not from the light of Hashem. So therefore you have to say that the vessels the light itself again has a form, and therefore there is something of plurality within godliness, not just within the way Hashem hides himself, not just the way Hashem withdraws in the vessels, but also the way Hashem, also within Hashem's light. There must be a form in the light itself. A third proof that the light itself has a form, the light itself has, that there are 10 spheres, that there is a form and that there is a color and that there is a character in the spheres themselves, is from the concept of reward and punishment. The fact that Hashem responds to each person according to what they do. So that means that there is an attribute of kindness and there's an attribute of justice. And since Hashem himself is administering this reward or the opposite, we must say that the impact is on the light of Hashem, not just on the vessel. Hashem is responding to each person according to their deeds. This response is happening through Hashem's kindness. So you have to say that there is kindness, that there is form, that there is a tzir, that there is some kind of description of kindness within godliness, not just in the vessel. Number four, the fourth proof that the light itself must have a form. Fourth proof is the fact that every single one of Hashem's names indicates, as we said before, something else. When I judge the creations, the Medrash says I'm called Elokim. When I Brachmanis, I'm called Avaya. So since the names are not referring just to attributes of godliness, but they're referring to God, as the Medrash emphasizes, the Maamar emphasizes, according to my deeds, I am called. They're names of Hashem. So we must say that the words that the Medrash is saying, justice, mercy, is a reference to God himself. And therefore there must be a form, there must be some kind of definition within the light itself, not just in the vessel. So just to recap again, the four proofs of why we must say that the light itself has a form, not just a vessel. Number one, the fact that each creature is distinct from other creatures. Where does that come from? It must come from godliness. It must be that my personality comes and is a godly thing. It can't be that it's just something that is from a concealment. That means there's no truth. There's no truth. There is what is the godly reality of character? What is the godly reality of color? We must say that there is, so to speak, color in Hashem's light itself. Number two, the fact that there is a knowledge of each creature. There must be that within godliness, within the light of Hashem, there is already a form and a definition. Therefore, there is a knowledge of each creature. Number three, the fact that there is a response to each creature, mercy or justice based upon their deeds. Where is this response happening? It's happening within godliness, and it's happening within the light of Hashem itself. Number four, the fact that each name of Hashem, we're not talking about someone else other than Hashem. We're not talking about Hashem's midah is distinct from Hashem. Hashem's names are about him. And therefore, we must say that there is, in godliness itself, there is a form. So although by the lights of Hashem going into the vessels, there became a stronger form, a stronger limitation, the Chachma and the Chesed that existed before Chachma and Chesed went into the vessels was was less defined. Kind of like, as we discussed a few times in our own life, that our mind, our ability to see, ability to hear, the soul has all those capabilities before it enters the body. But the various parts of the body confer a stronger and more defined limitation. For example, the power of sight. What was the power of sight before your power of sight entered your eyes? Your power of sight was the ability to see the truth of Hashem in Gan Eden. So now your eyes do something to that power of sight. What do? Do they hide your power of sight, or do they reveal your power of sight? They reveal the hindermost, lowest power of sight, and they conceal the higher and deeper power of sight. In the language of Chassidus, it's mechasa pnimius and megala chitzenius. A vessel's function is to cover the inner dimension of the light, but to reveal the hindermost and lowest part of the light. So the vessels do accomplish this this change in the light of Atzilus, that it now has a different kind of form, a different kind of expression. It's no longer unable to be channeled to this world. The world of Atzilus begins a relationship between Hashem and creation. The world of Atzilus is where the godly energy is now able to be channeled into this world. That's why it says, and we say in Kiddush, Sheishes Yom Asa Hashem. Hashem made the world in 6 days. It doesn't say Bisheishes Yom, within 6 days Hashem made the world. Rather, it says 6 days made the world. What does it mean that 6 days made the world? The 6 spheres of Atzilus, they are what caused there to be all the components that are in the world. The Midas of Hashem, which were revealed in the first 6 days of creation, each day revealing a different Midah of Hashem. They are what caused there to be all different kinds of things in creation. So on day 1 of creation, for example, there is light that's created, the physical light that's created in the world, and also the spiritual light that was revealed then in Gan Eden. And water was created, which also is associated with kindness, because just like water has this gravitational thing that it descends from above to below, unlike fire, which ascends. Why does water have this nature? Because water emanates from Hashem's kindness, which kindness is a flow from a giver to a recipient. Kindness is about something that flows downwards. So the 6 days of creation brought the truths, the godly energy, which is in the world of Atzilus, and it brought it down to this world. So before it's in Atzilus, it's unable to be channeled to this world. It's the vessels that harness the energy of the light to be able to be channeled to the world. But what is that light before it enters Atzilus? Before it enters Atzilus, it also has a form. There is, so to speak, Hashem contracted, made a contraction, not just through a foreign entity, through these vessels, but there's also a contraction within the light itself. It's not only from the vessels. The vessels don't really cause the lights to be truly limited. Just want to point that out. It's not that once the light enters a vessel, the light is now changed. The effect that the vessel has on the light is that the light can now be channeled to the world. Unlike human sight, where the neshama is now confined in a body and doesn't see Atzilus through it's in the same way that it was in Gan Eden. It's now invested in the body, but there's no change in the water just because it's seen through the various glasses. The limitation that's conferred on the lights by their entering the vessels is in reference to their influence on creations. The lights themselves are now, through the vessels, projecting things. It's not happening. In other words, there is no energy that is coming to the world from the vessel itself. It's coming from the light going into the vessel. On the one hand, when the soul goes in the body, on the one hand, there is when you're moving, what's moving? Is the soul moving or is the body moving? On the one hand, you're seeing something. And who are you? You're your soul. You're seeing something. It's not your body that's seeing something. You're seeing something. On the other hand, this ability to see is only regarding the impact of the soul, but not the soul itself, because the soul itself is not changed by the. I'm scrambling for words over here.
How about using the words opacity and translucence? In other words, the light comes in, hits a prism, and if the prism is a dull prism, it's not going to reflect or transmit that light. It can be opaque. This doesn't recognize it, it alters. But if it's a true translucence, then you see the real revelation.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, you can't say that the vessel is the bottom line is, without getting too lost over here, the bottom line is that there Hashem, when he made the 10 spheres are the way Hashem contracted and his light to have a certain form already. And when we talk about Hashem's kindness and Hashem's gvura, it's not just something that happens because of some foreign entity, because the vessels, but there is within godliness, within holiness, within truth, there is Hashem's light itself has a certain form. That's the main point in regarding to where we're going with this Maamar. Let's now. It's already 6:57. Okay, so just to emphasize, the Zohar says the spheres are called the secret of faith. Why are they called the secret of faith? As we learned a couple of days ago, they're called the secret of faith because on the one hand, we're saying that Hashem himself has now contracted his life within the spheres. That Hashem himself is called wise. Hashem himself is called kind. We're not talking about just the way Hashem projects, but Hashem himself has that name. On the other hand, when we daven, we're saying, Hashem, you are kind, give us kindness. We're calling Hashem kind. On the other hand, we're saying that Hashem is not limited to being kind. Hashem is not limited by the spheres. On the one hand, it's a godly thing. It's God's kindness. The vessels, Hashem, the spheres themselves have a form. Hashem himself is kind. On the other hand, it's not that Hashem is now changed and now he's now limited to the formation, to the form of being kind. Even when Hashem contracted himself, he still remains infinite at the same time. How could both things be true? So that's why it's called the secret of faith. It's not something that our mind can fathom. And on the one hand, it is limited. On one, Hashem limits himself in the vessel. On the other hand, that he remains completely infinite and beyond the vessel at the same time. On the one hand, we're saying, or not just the vessel, the light itself has a form of kindness. On the other hand, Hashem is beyond that. The analogy the author gives in Tanya, again, is about the light in the sun, that when you look at when the light is still within the orb of the sun, all you see and all you notice is the sun itself. Yes, there is light that is within the sun, but all you're noticing is the light. In a similar way, the spheres, the light of Hashem, is one with the luminary. It's not something distinct from the luminary. It's the revelation of the luminary. On the other hand, it doesn't define the luminary. The sun isn't limited to its light. The light is one with the sun, but the sun isn't limited to its light. The spheres are one with Hashem, but Hashem is beyond the spheres. Hashem contracted himself to have the form of the spheres. To relate to us, Hashem contracted himself to the spheres. And that's why we have all of our persona. We have kindness. We have the ability to understand and to love Hashem and all the different things the soul has. It comes from Hashem causing this form to be in the spheres. Any other questions or comments? All right. Just everyone wants to know where Yonathan's going. Have a great day, Yonatan. Great day, Dr. Bressman. Great day, Menachem Mendel. Great day, Rav Aryeh. Great day, Jeff. Great day, Michal Mordechai. Great day, Rebero.